amazing. Without change, there's really nothing. We have to change constantly and we have to do it. Now we move to digital platforms. What is digital these days? What are platforms? What are digital platforms? I said the other day, a scary thought, that we are all living in some kind of a digital platform. Every word, every text, every keystroke measured, controlled somewhere, and we are in that platform. And now our buying habits and patterns and everything are being traced, and there are forces they know what I'll be eating today based on what I had for lunch yesterday at which particular hotel, which particular place, and so on. Digital platforms are the new frontiers. Success will be determined not by the size of the factory, but by the power of data and digital platforms. It's a very different space. It's very, very powerful. It hums around the clock, year round. I have with me amazing people. They have some understanding that how to grow the business, but most importantly, they are on the new cutting edge, innovative edge, and they have the opportunity to look at life and the business growth from those set of eyes. In the old model, minus the digital platform, e-commerce, like we spoke about multinationalization and all that, businesses were on a different thinking. Anisa Yunus, a jewelry designer, a fashion artist, a producer, a marketer, a great success story. And then I have, of course, Munib Mayer, who is in some very innovative, very creative way to provide transportation solution with using bicycles the way Uber does and provide the ease. And of course, the famous Imran Jatala, the very active member of the Health Prize and somebody who has been aggressively championing the cause of creating startups and giving them opportunities and so on. So to start, I'm going to go in a very informal way because these people are the entrepreneurial mind and they think very differently and they live in a very different space. Anisa, am I right in saying that for a woman, for you to find this, of course you must have been thinking very differently when you started the business and you brought the success, and then now you go into jewelry and you see that, and you can climb this all the way. You could become a $1 billion company, merchandising and trading, as long your mind allows you to grow, because the market is there. And it's a proven model again and again and again, and every 5, 10, 20 years, new stars are born in it, and they do extremely well. Congratulations, you have done very well. Please tell us something. Tell us.
Story about myself. I'm starting from where? Okay, I'm Anisa Yunus, and I'm just a simple housewife. Okay, जब मैंने अपना काम स्टार्ट किया और मैं एक सिंपल हाउसवाइफ थी, मेरी शादी को तकरीबन 25 साल हो चुके हैं माशाल्लाह.
Can we do English for our international people? We'll go slowly. Slowly.
I'm very fumble.
No, you're very, very natural.
I'm a simple housewife. And married since 25 years I have been now in my marriage life. And I started my business in 2007 when my kids go in O levels. Then I thought, okay, why don't I start my business? So from very just like a simple sewing machine, I started my business from my roof, okay, and hire one master for the cutting and stitching, and I started there. From there, after 1 year, I thought, why I bought a shop on rent, and I started there. It was just the rent is just 7,000 rupees in 2007, and I thought, how should I pay the 7,000 rupees?
Like $70.
$70. But Allah is with me and was with me. I started and I move on and on and on. And now I have, alhamdulillah, my own brand, You and I. My brand name is You and I. It's me, you and I, me and my customer. So I went very up and downs like that. I can't speak more fluently in English,
No, you're
but
doing
I'm
very
just
well.
trying, because I'm a simple housewife and I'm just intermediate. Okay. Then when I started, then
What
after
was your big break? How did you get a big break? Or when did you realize that you were really doing well?
yeah, from the very in my first
So you were getting customers?
yeah.
and you were doing that.
In the first year,
And where is your business now? How many
from the
places?
very first year, I came to know that I'm going very well. Then I started in 2007 that I switch off my jewelry brand in 2000. This is 17 now. In 2015, I started my jewelry business. Then, alhamdulillah, now my brand is everywhere, internationally, nationally. I did many exhibitions internationally and in national point of view. So I'm everywhere, and I, alhamdulillah,
Your
well
jewelry
settled.
design, is somebody making them, or are you buying and selling and trading? Do you have suppliers, or are you actually designing them?
I'm actually designing it.
Wow.
I'm actually designing
Wow,
it.
yeah,
make
amazing
it,
design.
and
I
draw
looked at
it.
the catalog. They're amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. Then I'll transfer my idea to my workers, to my head of workers. Then he make it and give it back to me, and then I'll approve it. Then I'll
And this is
show it
all
in
plated, good
yeah,
quality.
it's gold plated, 100% good quality, 22 karat gold plated, and it's handmade. Specialty is just, you see my
Good.
ring, it's
Good.
handmade and gold
Good.
plated.
Good.
And
Good.
my specialty is on calligraphy.
Calligraphy, of course,
Calligraphy.
beautiful, beautiful. I have seen some of your design in the stores. I noticed them. I noticed them during the Olympic days, long time ago. I spent a great time in the European jewelry industry trade
Okay.
because of the links to the Olympics. So I'm very familiar with that.
With that,
But it's very good. So what is your next future quantum leap? Are you going to go into, are you running your own e-commerce, or are you creating affiliations around the globe for e-commerce? How are you doing that?
How I doing that? I'm just running my page, okay, not in a very vast ideas, because I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know about each and everything about the digitals and the how to market yourself in the internationally, but I'm doing exhibitions in different areas of Pakistan and in different cities of Pakistan, and internationally I'm just going to Dubai, Malaysia, Qatar on an exhibition inshallah in next month. So I want to see my brand worldwide, and I want to see my brand internationally.
Good, of course. Because you've got the mind, you've got the imagination, you're a designer,
Yeah.
and you work yourself, and you know the craft. You know more than average people, and that gives you
guess.
that technical advantage. But somewhere along the line, it was, you're very lucky being a woman, being artistic, inclines towards the thinking that you did that. But normally, people don't get that chance.
Yes.
And now with the digital platform, that how you can take this business and you can model it. Hi, Imran? Something like that can go in a digital platform, and it's like an open consumer market all over the globe, and you can expand the merchandising, you can expand like some of the American brands that they have done. What are your thoughts on it?
They can probably they both can collaborate and make a lethal combination, because Munib is good at selling digitally and she's good at designing something. So design and digital bird, both if you combine them even at the national scale or the global scale, they can do magic. So she can really either create her own platform, or she can collaborate with international platforms.
That's exactly.
Like Souk in the Middle East or the Amazons of the world, and then she can have a global reach and to a wider audience, and she can really scale her startup very quickly.
Munib, let's hear about your platform, and let's see if we can tie some gold chains with that and something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, I am a founder at Bikeia. Bikeia is a motorcycle, not bicycle, motorcycle.
It's a motorcycle.
Motorcycle-based network. We are one of the largest in the country, actually.
Pakistan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So we launched in December 2016. So we've got over 1 million installs. We've got more drivers than all the courier companies combined in this country.
1 million drivers.
No, 1 million installs.
Okay.
But in terms of drivers, like the guys on motorcycles,
Right.
I think we have more than all the courier companies in this country.
Really?
So
TCS has about 12, 13,000 people. I don't know how many of them are bikers, but you are absolutely right. Substantial number.
yeah. So we're basically we're an app. We're an app. We're predominantly an Android app, and the goal is to connect people who have a motorcycle to essentially come on our platform and offer their services for either rides or deliveries or payments. So we actually just recently also launched food, so digital commerce is very dear to me, because I've been in this space for a few years now, and I'm very optimistic about how technology will eventually enable people to do commerce more efficiently. So I don't know if you know my background. But
I want to know, what's your background?
So prior to Bikeia, for 4 years, I was co-founder and CEO for Daraz.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah. So I did that.
And that got sold to Alibaba, right?
Got sold to Alibaba.
Oh, wonderful.
And prior to that, I also, most people don't know about this company, but it's based in Islamabad. It was the largest BPO, a business process outsourcing business in Islamabad. Now it's owned by Standard & Poor's, the McGraw-Hill company. They bought it from SNL, which is the company I used to outsource, work from out of Pakistan. So since 2004, I've been involved in some capacity in using resources out of Pakistan, initially to help export IT or services. So when I left, I think there were about a little over 600 people working out of Islamabad. I think right now there are probably over, close to about 1,500 people out of Islamabad.
Okay.
And of course, after SNL, Daraz has also helped really build the digital space for commerce in the country. In terms of Bikeia, I think we're probably the fastest growing app in the country that is a local app. Is not like if you think like Uber and Careem are local apps, they're not. They're basically they're multinational companies that are deploying a lot of capital into Pakistan to essentially show growth to their region or to their to their global platform. And Pakistan is a quick and easy way to grow the platform. But ultimately, for us, our app is in Urdu. It's one of the only apps in the country that's in Urdu, right? And a lot of people would look at the app initially in the first few weeks of us launching and say, why is the app in Urdu, right? And the answer was simple. You may say there are 200 million people in this country, but the reality is no more than 10, maybe 15 million people comprehend English in this country. So why should the app be in English, right? So sure, of course you speak, you talk to me and I sound like, I sound like I'm fluent in English and all of that, but that's an advantage that I have, that I can try and learn from the West and try and take that technology and deploy it and help people in this country, right? And that's the goal for us. The goal for us is to bring technology and make it meaningful for the masses. There's 17 million people in this country with a motorcycle. There are 40 million people with a smartphone. But how do we make technology relevant for them? That's the goal, right? Otherwise, what's the point in all these burgers basically buying stuff with credit cards online when it's not going to help Pakistan, right? So our goal is to somehow build technology that's relevant.
Tell me, our crazy chase for the 5,000-10,000 mid-size family businesses, for them to understand that they can bring in hundreds of these digital platforms, pick up hundreds of these bright ideas, and try to transform into new butterflies very, very quickly, because it's there for the catch. And if they don't do it, then somebody else will do it.
Yeah, I think it's been a tragedy in Pakistan. If you think about the fact that very few Pakistani multi-millionaire or multi-billionaires have been able to get capital for their business from the global markets. Tell me about one, I think maybe just a handful of people who've been able to raise awareness about bringing in global capital into Pakistan. So ultimately, I think the businessmen and generally the upper echelons of Pakistan society have only got capital in by begging or getting debt, right? They've not been able to sell the value proposition of this country and somehow been able to get investment, like real business, private sector investment in this country. And that's got to change, and that's going to change hopefully by this new generation, which is perhaps able to communicate more effectively than perhaps a generation prior to us. Because I think we grew up in the Zia era when we were sort of like cordoned off and put into this prison called Pakistan. And I think now it's beginning to open up. I mean, I'm still very disappointed by what Imran Khan did today, but hopefully we're essentially going to be improving as a nation.
Let me ask you on that note. On one side, there seems to be quite an uplift, but then keeping the political preferences aside, do you think that technology, perhaps, people like you, people like Imran, and lots of others, is perhaps the force that could deliver the change? Because we look at it that Pakistani business success stories were based on some window of opportunity in the procedural complexity that opened and provided something to become who, what, where, when. It was never on a tough, competitive, open market basis where people will go out and demonstrate their value-added features and execution and management on organizational structure, raise capital, bring foreign investment and whatnot, because that never existed. So whoever got made was through some lucky break of some combinations and whatever. I think technology is now saying, hey, we can come and do this, is that. Let's even take a look at Daraz. I'm not an expert, but I just wrote a piece on the lack of philosophy of e-commerce thinking in the country, that how every website with a trading portal is considered e-commerce, while the true e-commerce is really value-added, customer retention, high speed, high quality service, and premium value in the eyes of the recipient, and profitable models and so on. But coming back, do you think that the digital force is enough? That, like, this is all digital force.
Yeah. So I think all of this will perhaps take a lot more time than we think. I mean, on the one hand, me coming in the car, I'll always sit in the back, and for example, I'll be online, either reading something or chatting or talking to someone. And so that's, if you think about maybe 15 years ago, that wasn't the case. There weren't even cell phones. There weren't these digital devices that we had, right? So I think digital is consuming our lives a lot faster than we anticipated, right? But that can have its pros and its cons, right? The cons is that you basically just consume yourself in frivolous things, watching videos which are entertainment, or just chatting. Alternatively, you can use digital for value creation, right? And I think that decision about value creation versus not, I'm not sure that we will be able to make a decision for people. People have to make that decision for themselves, right? Like YouTube, like whether it's Facebook or YouTube, like my Facebook, I've actually unfriended or unfollowed a lot of people, So my Facebook is full of news feeds, right? If you look at my YouTube, either my kids are watching videos, which they are, right? Or my YouTube is basically I'm watching lectures, right? But if you look at most people watch YouTube for videos about songs, which is entertainment. So I think it's a personal decision. And ultimately, for the future, we have to decide, are we going to be consumers or are we going to be creators? And that's a personal decision.
And what you're doing here is really creating the divide, because there is a void in the market. YouTube is something else, and the local channels of communication are not creating and forcing that change and forcing that most needed ingredient, that how do you create new thinking? Because at the end of the day, it's all really about thinking. That how I come from a society where we had to fight between introducing hardware and then what was software and what was the difference, and then when the desktop application came and what was desktop in the 80s, all the big offices and all the major buildings used to have center pillar in the large halls of the offices, and that was considered kind of a trademark of the big establishment and so on. But the reason why they had the pillar in those high, powerful buildings, because they had 1,000 filing cabinets on the higher floors holding all the invoices and pieces of paper, and they were afraid that this will collapse without that steel beam and so on. And most of them don't exist today. But we've gone through those revolutionary change when you sit in front of somebody and say, oh, for $1 million, we will sell you a 54K system at 2 megabyte and then you can be able to process. I'm talking dark ages of the evolution of the computers. But we've gone through that, but it was all about mind. We have seen, and we have discussed in this marathon, people who saw it, and they gravitated, and they understood, and they created from an old 200-year-old body with filing cabinets and so on, they became a modern organization, and some didn't, and they didn't make it. We are right now in Pakistan a point where 10, 20, 30% of the companies may not be around in next 5, 10 years, because they were unable to retrain their mind to open into that direction or something and so on. So to us it's always a mental challenge. But you tell me about this business. Are you going to take it is it already international or?
No, it's not international. We made this app really for Pakistan, right? And you know, a lot of people were like, there's no way you can build the same type of technology, for example, that Uber has. And the question is why? Why can't you, right? So I think, one, we knew that we could build the technology. We knew that we could tweak the use of that technology to make it relevant for the masses here. For example, we introduced motorcycle taxi in Pakistan. There was no concept of motorcycle taxi in Pakistan, right? So, except for the Kinchi, which was a three-wheeler, right? But on a two-wheeler, and now you have tens of thousands of these bookings. In fact, Uber and Careem have actually come in and actually started copying us. Yes. You know, because you know, and for example, we just launched food, right? We launched food subscription like a couple of weeks back. And I'm sure as soon as it becomes successful, other people will join it. So our goal is, hey, how do we go back and solve something for Pakistan? Our goal right now is build world-class technology for here. Because if you can solve for here, then you can take that technology and deploy it anywhere else in the world, right? Because one of the good things about technology is you can, as long as you change the language, you can go deploy it really anywhere. Like, you know, for example, everything's in the cloud. So tomorrow, if I take the app and, for example, change the language, and I want to run in Angola or I want to run in Uganda, I can, right? Because my advertising medium is also what? Facebook and Google, right? So I can actually sit out of Pakistan and sell the product really anywhere in the world. But we want to first solve the hardest, which is here, because here the problem is most people cannot type in their own language. This is not like Iran. Iran, everyone types in Farsi. In the Middle East, everyone types in Arabic. Here, we have handicapped 85% of this country with English. So I think as a country, we have to decide either to forget Urdu, just forget Urdu, drop Urdu, or like the Japanese, like the Turks, like the Iranians, convert everything into Urdu. Make a decision. Why is there a distinction between the rich and the poor? You know, why do we not have equal opportunities? And so coming back to your question, are we going to go international? We can go international, but we're going to try and do the harder thing here. You know, and I think once we've solved it for here, then we'll think about going global.
Amazing. Imran, how many stories are floating around in Pakistan right now, and are they getting good stage, and are they getting the attention and the funding? And how do you see this across Pakistan as a landscape of new players coming up with new thinking?
Careem and Uber were the first real national scale businesses that existed on smartphone and data networks. And then I give all the credit to Munib that he has built a local business which exists on smartphone and data networks only. So all his focus is local, Pakistan, national. These, I would say Munib is the best success story, or the bike here rather is the best national success story. And I always quote him that being representing Hult Prize, I interact with students and startups, and I always quote bike as example that yes, you can build a digital platform in Pakistan that you can scale nationally, that you can build to a level that even Careem and Uber come and copy you. So he started bike first, and then Uber and Careem copied him. So that's an amazing inspiration.
This is on the digital platform. We have offered the Chamber of Commerce's and Trade Association a LinkedIn kind of a platform to showcase their entire membership free of cost. On that platform, we want to make it easy and accessible for the members to not only showcase among the local markets, but also within the greater circle. And then we want to create the bounce from other markets into that. Because we are saying that, for example, LinkedIn is a very great portal. They can maybe very easily bypass us and start putting corporate information, products and goods and services, and they can become overnight the Textile Manufacturers Association or the shoemakers, because they have all the shoemakers. They can give them National Geographic this, they can isolate, they can say, here are my shoes, here it is, connected to the websites, connected to e-commerce, connected to this, that, and they can do that. They can do it overnight. They would literally, there are 100,000 associations around the globe. Of that, let's say 1,000 are important. Those 1,000 that are important represents 90% of the bodies and the organizations that carries out the trade around the globe. LinkedIn can do this overnight. We have got the blueprint that can be done. So if marketing, exposure, accessibility are the issues that prohibits your business to become 100 times fold, or your business or whatever, your business is slightly different. If that is the issue, then why these 100-year-old associations and trade bodies are not adopting the digital platforms to look at it like this? Imagine, close your eyes and visualize that if you had 100,000 producers of Pakistan clearly identified by demographic, by size, by volume, by this and that. Here's my product, this is what I make, this is the markets I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for, these are my alliances, and this is what we offer, and this is how we do it. A kind of an Alibaba model, but Alibaba is something else. This is where the future is. Now, we have offered them, but only if they have the mind that can think and say, two options. Either my association is going to become irrelevant in the next 2 years, or we should not be afraid about everybody else's competition. We should only be considered about Anisa, because if she could increase her business by 20-30%, it is good for the association, it's good for the community, and so on. How much does it cost? Almost nothing. Why they are not doing it? They just don't understand. Why they don't understand? Because if they did, if they could, they most probably would have done it 10 years ago. That's why to all those people they said, oh, Mr. Javed, Expothon, you are 10 years ahead of its time. And we are saying perhaps we are 10 years too late. So the question is very simple. You on the digital platform, you with the Daraz and all the experience, does this model make sense? No. Expothon, somebody did say that it's going to get some award from the United Nations. We're not after awards. That's not our business. We are soldiers. We want to go out and deploy and mobilize. So we would like to see top 10 association, trade association, top 10 chambers on some kind of a platform. How much time will it take? We can do it in 90 days. How long will it take for that thing to become a global buzz? Maybe another 90 days. How long will it take that the phone starts ringing in some of those places and million phone calls? Another 90 days. How long will it take for these organizations to change their mind, to think what we are taking? I don't know, maybe 90 years, but we are not going to wait. We are going to continue our debate, we're going to continue our dialogue thing, because it's logical. There's a platform, it's logical, it's common sense. And we're just going to chase the common sense. Your expert assessment of this, is this some kind of a vision or an illusion or hallucination or what? I'm just going to give you.
Yeah. So in terms of a platform, I mean, so ultimately, people who invest in platforms, mostly it's venture capital that invests, right? So venture capital is capital that is deployed, that is into businesses that are very risky, extremely risky. Like whoever put money into Facebook or Google or Uber, all these companies, venture capital put in, not traditional industrialists, right? So these are people who who take very, very risky bets. But the bets they took were bets that we may, for example in Facebook, we may be initially luring in customers by giving them free space for photo albums to share with their close knit of friends. But ultimately, if they start saving their photo albums on our platform, they won't leave. They can't leave. Because if they leave, they have to do away with their memories, you know. So I think ultimately, capital is only deployed where you see that they may be able to create some level of stickiness. Okay? So what Alibaba had, like what Jack Ma had in mind was, all this manufacturing is being done in China. There is no yellow pages for businesses in China. Can we get these yellow pages together and one, perhaps be a broker, but two, perhaps also help become a lead generator, and three, perhaps even start selling directly, either internationally or within the country. But he got a lot of support from venture capital, you know, and also from the state. Now, if you look at India, for example, I mean, they've deployed, I think, somewhere close to $30 billion a year into technology startups or startups in general, right? I mean, I don't know if you've heard, but Rajasthan just now, the state of Rajasthan in India has made a cell phone for every citizen of Rajasthan free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, why? To essentially ultimately enable everyone to have a device, and with that device be able to also perhaps monitor other things.
That's right.
You know.
That's
So,
right.
so coming back to answer your question, do I feel, and I know maybe Imran can add more to this, but you know, is there merit to every platform? Sometimes you can put in a lot of hard work, but not be able to monetize it, right? And if you can't monetize it, then you won't find the investors to keep paying your salary.
It's very important first to add value to your customer's life. And I believe if you can add value, then definitely you can monetize it, because people pay for benefits. So if you're adding benefit, you will be get paid. And second, I feel like the rate of change in Pakistan in last 4 years has quadrupled, even gone 10x, because it all started with the launch of 4G in Pakistan in 2014. Probably we would not have been sitting here today if 4G was not launched.
Exactly.
Paikia would not have existed, Kareem Uber would not have existed, this digital disruption would not have happened. So it all started in 2014. So the rate of change is phenomenal. Probably the businesses, the old businesses, cannot comprehend this explosive rate of change. So that probably mindset, the senior leadership management, even in the banking sector, I would say, is a classic example. Fintechs are coming to eat their lunch. Banks are not realizing, and it's not very far away that fintechs would eat away the bank's lunch. The banks are still in traditional mode, operating in traditional modes. Similar is in all material industries. May it be leather industry, may it be garments industry, may it be jewelry, may it be any industry. Whoever adopts a digital strategy would do a Baikia, would do an Uber, would do a Kareem for all those industries. And this rate of the fourth industrial revolution has made it very easy. That with 15 people you can do WhatsApp, and with a limited number of people, I don't know the exact number, which you can do Baikia. So this is going to happen with every material industry now. And yes, so what Muneeb said about the smartphone, digital inclusion is the beginning of lifting people out of poverty.
No,
and
I
that's
don't
what World Bank says now. Digital inclusion is the key. Digital inclusion makes it easier for the financial inclusion. So digital inclusion makes easier for financial inclusion, and financial inclusion enables you to use digital services like Baikia and Kareem's, and that lifts you out of poverty.
And even the state makes money, right? So today, for example, if Imran, you give me 100 rupees in cash, and I gave it to Anis, and Anis gives it to somebody else, right? Ultimately, by the time that 100 rupee comes back, you still have 100 rupees.
Yeah.
Right? But when it's digital,
Yes.
What happens is when you give me 100, maybe the state takes 1%, or maybe it takes 0.5%, and the bank takes 0.5%. By the time I give it on, the state makes
Chip
another
away.
0.5%. And so the state will make some money. Right now, the state is poor.
No, I know.
You know.
Well, that is another issue, and that requires a complete forum. That how do you build a national economy on transparency with compliance and tax paying and so on. One of the benefit that we have in Canada and all that, no matter what, at the end of the day, we pay taxes, and that's why we have got all those benefits. I don't know what the economic model would look like if we were just not allowed to pay any taxes and do whatever you want to do. I don't know what kind of standard of living we will have. But I want to come to a topic which is very dear and close to me, and that is about the Alpha Dreamers. So if you hold the telephone in your hand for a minute and hold that very firmly and think for a minute that there are 2 billion other people holding the phone at the same time with you, and you have full connectivity and accessibility with it. Alpha Dreamers are the people who have the capacity to dream because there's a new landscape. And the new landscape is it's all around us. In everywhere we touch, we see something new happening. I think today we saw so many new things happening, and in next 12 hours, and then tomorrow and the after. Every time you open a door, there is something new happening. The rate of innovation, the rate of newness is very, very fast. You see something and you get an idea. I'm saying, oh, you can make jewelry, you can do this. Oh, a motorcycle, and you can do this, you can do that. Oh, we can do this and that. And it's just unbelievable. So Alpha Dreamers are the one, I think they are dreaming, they're thinking they're all young and old, makes no difference. But they're all connected in a post-internet society, they're post-electronic and this digital age. And I think perhaps the future is that. So that would be coming up next. I wanted to thank you so much for finding the time. I promise that I'll buy some special pieces for my wife, and they're amazing. And thank you so much. Daraz is quite an achievement, quite a feather in your cap, and all some of the other things. I wish you best of luck. I want to keep the dialogue open and see that if there are some other ways. But as far as our digital platform project is concerned, maybe we'll come to you one day for your expert opinion, advice, and so on. We're not looking for funding because we think that it is value-added process and it will just float on its own, unless LinkedIn hearing outside, they decide to do it tomorrow, and they can do it like that. They can do it global. They could take every single chamber and every single organization by asking, do you I? Say, all right, put your product, put this, put this, put this, put that, and now you go into that group. Shoemakers in Sialkot, boom, all that, done. Fully orchestrated. So, thank you very much. And now we would be talking to Shelley Frank, on the topic of Alpha Dreamers.